Welcome back to the show. What's going on today's podcast? Really fun conversation with a good friend. That is my oven in the background making noise. Good friend, Alex Ludeman. He is, well, I'm going to be slightly biased here, but one of the best golf coaches in BC. Has absolutely helped my game. If you are into golf or if you just love sports and the psychology of sports, this is a really good episode. We chatted a lot about his coaching, what he's learned in the decade that he's been a golf coach, and launching his new website, yourgolfcoach.ca, for all golf needs. Share some tips, drills, equipment suggestions, and even nutrition stuff for athletics and for golf specifically. Great conversation. Have a listen. Here we go. Are you a golf fan? I know you're you're a golf instructor, obviously. I know you grew up playing golf. I know your dad was a good golfer. Golf was kind of in your blood. Do you watch a lot of golf?
Wow, you're starting off with a really good question there. All right. You've done this before. I would consider myself a golf fan. Watching it, I'll watch the majors for sure. I love those. The regular week to week, I'll check in with them. But for me, golf is just about that walk in the park with some friends, chasing the golf ball around. Competition side to me isn't as important as maybe some other golf professionals that you might know. I just really just like going out there and doing, especially first thing in the morning, just going and playing, right? So if I do watch a golf tournament, it's those special ones that I'll sit down and I'll invest that, 8 hours or something it's on TV. Yeah. But if it's, just the regular Sunday golf tournament where you might have one headliner in it, I might just check it on the score.
I like asking that question to people regardless of whether they're in some sort of sport like you are or whether they're like a plumber or like we had a guy on who played in the CFL and I asked him that question. He's like, never been asked that before. I don't know. And I'm like, well, do you watch football? He's like, yeah, kind of. I'm like, okay, well, like, do you watch NFL or do you just watch CFL? He's like, no, I kind of like the NFL. Anyway, but I think it's like kind of a different perspective because a lot of people, I think, in their day-to-day are just kind of like exhausted at the end of the day. Yeah. And you always hear that like line, the plumber, like the best plumbers in the world, like don't really do any work at their homes. Their plumbing is all screwed up at their house, but they're phenomenal in their careers, right? Just because when they get home, they're exhausted and like, I don't want to deal with pipes and all this garbage anymore. So I wonder, because obviously that I very much enjoy golf. And I don't know if I'd say obsessed, but I'm borderline obsessed with watching it too. Just because I appreciate and understand how ridiculously difficult this sport is. And the guys that are the best in the world are so interesting to watch. How mentally strong they are, I think. Maybe even better, more than like physically strong. It's cool to see someone get up and down on 17 on Sunday afternoon when they're like within a shot of the lead or something like that, right?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah. Some of those shots that you see, And I mean, the other part of watching golf that I think some people don't appreciate is the TV flattens it all out too.
Right.
So you're looking at this shot and then the commentator's like, holy cow, what a shot. And you're looking at it like, that was okay, but it's not that.
It's hard to see slopes of the greens and stuff like that, right?
But then when you go and see it in person or you see it just with a really good photograph or something like that, and this guy is on a 45-degree downhill slope, and he somehow has a 60-degree wedge that he's opened up to 90. Yeah. And how he got any club face on that golf ball, and that golf ball stopped. Yeah. It's like, there's no way that happened, right? But you're not, that's a shot that, only the elite in the world have, but also have to have, right? As an amateur golfer. if I'm standing there on the chipping area, I'm not even going to show you that shot. We don't need to spend any time. You know what? Let's just grab a 5-iron. Let's bump that into the slope, roll it up there, and try and get it on the putting green.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No,
that's actually an interesting comment of how much harder golf actually is than what you see on TV. Because you don't really understand the lies. Like, these guys are playing it down every time and often like 2-inch rough, which is so difficult. And the grain's coming into you and you're trying to open up a 60 degree and hit a flop shot to a green that's running away from you that's like a 13, rolling at a 13. Like, it's crazy.
No, it is crazy. I mean, we had the GVRT. There was a tournament here at Northview back in the 90s. And
Great event. What did they call that? I remember. Yeah, I remember.
In Vancouver. Yeah. Anyways, they would have it set up for the PGA Tour, and then the Monday after, they would sometimes invite just local golf professionals to go and play it.
Cool.
Right. So I was not a professional back then. I was barely into elementary school, but my dad was, and he had a bunch of friends that were able to play it. And the scoring averages for these guys, that on any regular day they could shoot under par, no problem. There was some 90s, and that was with after taking some 8-foot putts because they're kind of out of that hole. Yeah. It's just amazing how they can set up a golf course. They'll narrow it up. The rough will grow to a certain height, but also you're going to see these greens going so fast that, I mean, if you're going to putt a 5-foot putt today, that would go 30 feet on a 13, 14 stimp green kind of thing. And it's just wild how they can set up a golf course to make it, a U.S. Open or a Canadian Open or a major tournament. That really all they're trying to do to those players is see how well they can commit to those shots. Right? And how accurate you can be. And just stick to your game plan. Because after a triple or a quadruple bogey, these players, on the PGA Tour, they're probably not used to making those scores, right? And then that's like, okay, maybe they're mentally checked out, but then you see the grinders that are always at the top of the leaderboard in those 4 tournaments. That's why I like to watch those. Because they will doesn't matter what comes their way. You're almost better off if you're going to place a bet on that online, is if they make a quadruple bogeys, there's a few select golfers that, he's going to make a birdie on the next hole. He's coming back. He's going to get there, right? And he's got that mental fortitude just to really buckle down after a bad hole. Where you see, a first or second year pro or someone who's in their very first major, and they don't even show that guy on TV after. They'll show that, okay, he's made a quadruple bogey, and never hear from him again, right? Because he's just gone double, triple, par, triple. Yeah. Right. And that's how I play golf. But
who are some of those guys you like watching that are those grinder type guys?
Those grinder type guys. Well, I really like to watch Rory. Louis Oosthuizen, one of the best swings, I think, on tour. Fluid. So smooth. So good. Right. I mean, Rose, Day back when he was, he wasn't so injured. So many great golfers like that. Obviously, Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, right? But I like, the Louis and Charles Schwartzel, those two kind of golfers that you just don't hear about until the weekend at a major, right? Because they just get it done. Yeah.
Also, Angel Cabrera.
That's a blast from there. Yeah, that's a call.
I remember, I started getting into watching golf when I was a kid, 7, 8, 9 years old. Watched a lot, never really played till I was about 20, or played very often until I was 20. But I remember watching the Masters every year. And there's one, he's Argentinian, right? I think he's Argentinian. There's one chubby Argentinian dude that at that time when I was 11 seemed like he was 50 years old. I don't know how he's still playing golf now. And every year, you never hear about him throughout the year. He just shows up in the Masters in top 10s all the time.
Every year, always the Masters, right? Yeah. And the only reason why he's in that tournament is because he won it before.
Because he won once, right?
That's it. And then, But that guy, talk about, having the mental game.
Right.
He just knows how to play that golf course.
At that golf course, too.
Right. And he knows he loves to be in the heat of the battle. And, he's at the top of the leaderboard. He's not leaving there. Yeah.
I had a conversation with, who is this with? I think Alex Thierman a few days ago, talking about Jordan Spieth. And my comment was, I think the 90 days off from golf, or it was like roughly 3 months, I think, that the PGA Tour took off, is the person that's going to benefit most is Jordan Spieth. Because I think mentally he was in a rough spot for the last like 18 months, kind of.
Yeah.
He's been slowly falling in the world rankings. He hasn't really played well. I don't know when last time he won a tournament was. But I think that guy, being young, he's still like 26 or something.
Yeah, he's young.
I think this like break was just gonna be such a good mental relief for him. And I think we were talking about it just before the tournament started, and he didn't have a great Sunday. I think he was +1 on Sunday, but he was in the top 10. So I texted him yesterday. I'm like, see, told you, he's coming back. Also, we're in a golf pool together and he's on my team. So I biasly want him to start playing better.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good pick.
Right? I remember getting him in like the 4th round or something of the tournament, of this pool. And I think going into the year is like 40 or 45 in the world rankings.
Yeah.
So he did not have a good 2019, fell quite a bit. I'm like, I'm going to take a flyer on him. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. So we'll see.
I think he's going to be someone you're going to hear from for a very long time.
I think so too.
He might have some ups and downs. He there was a knock on him before where he was a short hitter, and then you look at his stats and he's like, no, he hits it deep. Like he's a big hitter. He's got a putter that sure it can be streaky, but when it's on, I mean, I wouldn't pick anyone else to hit a putt on Sunday for me, right?
Speaking of Sunday, I don't know if you saw him on Sunday.
See, that's one of those tournaments. It's not a major, so
he 4-putted. I think he was like in the lead or tied for the lead at -12. And he 4-putted, it was like 11 or 12 or 13. It was like early in the back 9. 4-putted, and then he just didn't get it back.
No. That's a tough one to get back from.
I think he was tied for the lead and took a double. And that's a little punishing on a Sunday afternoon.
All right, so we can edit this, right? We can take that out. No. Yeah, that's no, right.
Usually
you 4-putt and you're mentally out. I mean, if you're going to play it correctly, you kind of have, you have an idea of how you're going to hit every single shot on that golf course. You go to that tee box on the next hole. It doesn't matter if you 6-putted or 1-putted. You made an eagle or you made a 10. He knows where that next tee ball is going to go, right? So he's got that walk from the putting green to the tee box just to clear his mind, whether it's, a tap of that putter on his toe or, throwing that putter against his bag just to sort of relieve some of that negative energy. And then after that, it should be a reset. But that's so easy to be said, right?
It's interesting. Even like me, someone that plays golf fairly often, like 30 to 40 rounds a year probably, you don't really think about, and nor do I necessarily like want to plan enough for a regular round of golf to like think about every single tee shot. Yeah. And watching these guys on TV, you don't really like think about that. You just think, oh, okay, he hit it in the fairway. He's going to go after this flag. Oh, he hit it in the rough. He's probably going to like hit it towards the center of the green and just try to two-putt. You don't really think about like, they've walked these courses dozens and dozens of times often. Yep. Their caddies have walked them a few times prior to the tournament starting that year and in previous years. And they literally have a game plan for every single swing.
They have a game plan for every swing.
Yeah.
For every conceivable pin position.
Yeah.
From every corner of that fairway. Mm-hmm. They've got it just dialed in, right? They'll play 9 holes. They'll walk around, but then you see them hitting putts, just random to spots, just to see how it's going to break and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And they have the game plan down. And that's just so that they can just step up to the golf ball and they can commit to it. Right? When you're standing over top of a golf ball and you're saying, maybe I should aim a little bit further right just as you're about to pull the trigger, it's going to go either way right or way left, right? Yeah. It's not going to go a little bit to the right? So they have it precisely. They're trying to land it on basically a driving range mat out there in the fairway. And you made a great comment about, they're going to attack this pin or they're going to go for the middle of the green. It's you would be surprised at how many of these pros will go for just the middle of the green. Maybe they're going to be a bit short, it's front pin or back pin.
Yeah.
But they're going to go for that middle of that green. They're not going to attack it. Because especially on the PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, Champions Tour, right? They're almost trying to suck it in. It's like the pin is there, but if you miss it 2 yards left, you're way down this hill. Now you got to hit that flop shot we talked about earlier, with a 45-degree angle down, right? And you got to hit it to a downhill slope, right? So if I can get that golf ball to the middle of the green, I'm going to be maximum 30 feet away from that pin for most holes, right? And then, you might have that athletic ability or that sort of competitive drive that you sort of, I'm going to pull a little bit because the pin is a little bit to the left, or hit a bit of a draw, halfway through the swing, and it might end up closer to that pin. But they also understand that their misses are, 10 steps right or left with this club, or 12 or whatever. So then they're also going to pick a target that, there's no danger 12 steps left of their target. Right. There's no danger to the right of it, right? So they're trying to pick the most aggressive yet safe line that they can. Mm-hmm. And with the severity of these greens, they're going right for that middle for a lot of the times. There was a really cool resource that I've been exploring over the past little bit, and they call it the Tiger sort of stats. So it's how many bogeys did you make with a wedge in your hand? How many 3-putts, right? And then there's 5. They call it the Tiger 5, right? And it's just how many times do you make a mistake? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when you have that wedge in your hand, you think you're going to be super, super aggressive. Yeah. And it's like, well, I mean, you can be a little bit more aggressive, but still error on the middle side of the green rather than the bunker side of the green to where that pin is, right? Just to pick that target, right? And then the slope is usually, especially in the old style golf course, it's kind of that turtle back. So the middle of the green is higher than, the surrounding edges. If you go play chillback golf course, that's a fantastic golf course to go and play, right? It's that old style green. So when you're in the middle of the green, you got a downhill slope everywhere, right? But then if you miss it on the edge, it's going to bounce and then kick way left or quick way right off of the green. And the middle is always a good place to be, for sure.
Have you heard Robin Williams stand up about golf?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have you heard it, Carl? No. Dude, it's so funny. There's a lot of swearing in it, but it's hilarious. It's so funny. He's talking about, why do we even play this stupid game? He's like, imagine, the people that, correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't seen it in a long time, but so imagine the people who, invented this game. We're going to give you this little white ball or these stupid sticks, and you're going to have to hit the ball into this little tiny hole over there on the green. But it's not just over there. It's going to be 500 yards away. But it's not just going to be that. We're going to try to fuck with you and put all these bunkers and water traps and all this shit. Good luck. Go have fun. Yeah. It's so funny. But he just goes on and on and on. And it's I don't know, 6 or 7 minutes.
It just keeps going. Yeah. And he gets more and more agitated and more oh man. It's so good.
It's so funny.
Yeah. Golfer, non-golfer. Watch that. Hilarious. Stand up. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah.
One thing you mentioned about overcoming a bad shot or moving on from a bad shot, how quickly do you think good players start thinking about the next shot? And the reason I ask this question is because Mike Bell and I have talked about this, and he said one of the things he asks his caddies to do in between golf shots is talk to him about anything other than golf.
Oh yeah.
Talk about a movie, talk about whatever. So he says from the time he hits his tee shot, walking down the fairway, he doesn't want to think about golf at all until it's 30 to 60 seconds before his next shot. Yeah. Or until he gets to the ball and can assess the lie. He's like, if I had a bad tee shot in the rough and I can't tell if it's behind a tree or whatever I'm gonna have to deal with, the more I think about it, the worse it gets. So he's like, I just want to distract myself for those next 3 minutes walking to the ball and then assess and figure out what shot I want to hit.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And just to go back, the resource that I was looking at is called Decade. So if anyone wants to look that up, it's Decade Golf. And to go off of what Mike said, you know, I try and instill in all of my, you know, students or golfers, there's 3 boxes when I hit a golf shot. So I have my think box, right? And this is through, you know, Freedom 54, P. Nielsen, and Be a Player book, kind of. But you have your think box where you're coming up with, what am I trying to do, right? Okay, what club am I going to pick? Where am I aiming? You know, where's that range mat in the middle of the fairway or middle of the green, right? Where am I trying to go distance-wise? What's the wind doing? And I'll take some practice strokes maybe. It's not going to be, you know, full out speed, but I'm just trying to feel, okay, what is it that I really want to do? And when I'm in that box, you know, I'm standing behind the ball, and you'll see a lot of the really good golfers, they're standing behind that ball, and they're trying to commit to something. It doesn't have to be the right choice. It just has to be the right choice that you feel you're going to be able to execute. Yeah. Right? So, okay, from here, I'm going to pick my 5-iron. I feel like, you know, the best shot for me right now for me to execute is a little bit of a draw. Okay, that's what I'm going to hit. Then I walk up to it, and that is my play box, right? So that's where I'm in my play zone, right? I know exactly what I'm trying to do. There's no thinking involved. I made that decision way back there, right? And I'm just stepping up there. It's going to take me anywhere from 8 to 12 seconds, depending on the golfer. Some people play a bit faster, some play a bit shorter, but it's going to be within, you know, a half a second if I'm in the right mentality. So after I hit it, whether it's good or bad, I like to sandwich it no matter what, right? So I'm going to take one positive, one negative, one positive, right? Whether it, you know, it's a really good shot, there's something that I'm going to sort of take away from that I might do differently next time. Yeah. But even if I shank it, right, I'm going to take away 2 positives from it. And that's my way of making sure that, you know, I'm going to be able to get past this. You know what? I felt really good over top of that golf ball. It went off the hosel. But if I did hit it right, I think it would have. Yeah.
I'm wearing a great shirt today. Right? So I look really good.
I feel so good. Yeah.
I hit that great tee shot on number 1, and those guys in the pro shop thought I was legit.
Yeah. I'll just make sure I put a birdie on this hole and show them the scorecard after. Yeah. But as I get, you know, before I put my club back in my bag, and this is where the memory box, that's that 3rd box, I'm going to make sure that I'm past it. Right. So, okay, I'm going to think about it. Maybe I'm going to take another practice stroke after, just to sort of tell myself I can do it. And then once that club is back in that bag, you hear that clink against that 6-iron because you're putting it in your bag. It's done. It's over with. That shot's, you can't get it back. Right. So I'm not going to try harder on the next one, because that's when you start to spiral. Right. That shot is done. I'm out here. I think I can shoot 54 on every single golf course. I can make birdie on every single hole. Right. Okay. Well, that's a wasted one, but I'm not going to try and make, you know, an eagle on this par 5 where I have to carry it 260 over water just to get that shot back. That's going to cost me even more. Right. So that after that memory box, you know, I put that club in, I start walking, and you can think about whatever you want. Right. You can talk about the Seahawks. Right. You can talk about, you know, anything that, you know, your group wants to talk about. And then once I'm, you know, typically I say 25 yards from my golf ball, I'm going to start getting into my think box. Okay, well, now I'm 25 yards away. I've got this chip shot, or I have this, you know, if it's a pitch shot, and I'm trying to kind of survey. Maybe I'm going to walk into it from a different angle, not just straight on. I'm going to try and get a little bit of look of the green, right? If it's a golf course I'm not too familiar with, or I can't quite see where the pin is. You know, maybe number 2 at Pitt Meadows, and it's tucked in the right. Is it back? Is it front? You know, maybe I can't quite see it over that lip, so I'm going to go and kind of see it and try and take as much as I can from my surroundings, right? And then I'll pick my club. You know, I'll get myself into my, you know, the right mindset to hit this golf shot. And then once I feel like I've committed to it and I've taken, you know, the last time I hit a 50-yard shot, I went too far. Okay, well, you're going to try and hit it maybe instead of 50 yards, 45 yards. If I'm 5 yards short, I'm not in the bunker, so who cares, right? Yeah. If I end up going too far, well, great. I'm actually right beside the pin. And then I do that in my think box, and I walk up to it, I hit it, and just go from there, right? Sort of the mentality that I like to say, and if, you know, in my clients are listening, they're like, oh, he said that way too many times to me. But I try and make number 18 the best hole. So I've got 17 holes to see what I have, what the golf course brings, how far am I hitting it, you know, what's the wind doing, you know, am I hitting the putts too far, too short, right, left, just so I can get enough information for me to make number 18 a nice, easy birdie. And that's, for me, the easiest way to get past a bad shot. Right? Yeah, whatever. Wasn't on 18, right? Or
18 at Burnaby is not an easy birdie hole.
Somebody cut that tree down, so.
Did they? Recently?
Yeah. It is not an easy hole, for sure. That green is tough, right? You can have 100 yards in, and that golf ball is going to be tough to stop to a front pin, for sure.
So hard.
Right? But, on number 18, again, I'm not going to try any.
Carl, I still have not figured it out. I figured it out. I'm in the fairway a lot because you get to hit 4 on off the tee, which is, I like hitting 4 on off the tee. So I'm in the fairway a lot. You have like anywhere between 100 and 130 yards in. I can't figure it out. Tried to land it short. Just lands softly and I'm chipping.
Yeah.
Try to land it at the pin and it bounces hard and goes over the green. Can't figure it out.
Just rewind this podcast back a little bit. Just aim for the middle of the green, Denny.
That's not my style.
Don't attack it, right?
You know that. I'm trying to make birdie at every hole.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're in the middle of the green, you can still make birdie.
That's fair.
With your putting, I mean, geesh.
I've been putting well.
A guy make so many putts in around. Other than Mike Bell, but. Yeah.
I feel like you were born and bred to be in the golf industry. Do you feel like that too? Because as a kid, your dad was on the Canadian tour. Was he still on the Canadian tour? Or he was teaching then?
He was teaching then.
Okay.
My dad was on the Canadian tour up until he had my sister, Megan.
Okay.
She's 5 years older than me. And then he played local tournaments.
Yeah.
Played a lot of local tournaments and stuff. But he wanted to stick around. He wanted to, be there for us, which is awesome. So he taught. He would, in the wintertime, he would teach to make enough money to pay for his Canadian tour dues and tournament entries and gas and stuff. So he did that for quite a few years. He actually turned pro at 16.
Wow.
He, he's talk about a guy that loves this game. Yesterday he drove up to Whistler, played golf, and drove back. 66 years old.
What course did he play?
I'm not sure he played. He did it last week, on Tuesday, and he played Nicholas North. That's in Whistler, right? Yeah, I got it right. Yeah,
I like that course.
He played there. I'm not sure which one they decided to play.
Manicured so perfectly. Whistler Golf Club is a really cool layout.
Yeah,
but it's not manicured. Like it's not as pretty and well put together as Nicholas North. Nicholas North is stunning.
So it's funny that he said that. It was bred to be it. He actually said when I was younger, because I never said I wanted to be on the PGA Tour. Maybe I didn't even play golf when I was 5, but I was like, I want to teach golf. Right? I just wanted to be just like my dad all the time. And then I think when I was looking for my first job, he's like, "You're not going to work in the golf industry. Like, don't work in the golf industry, especially for your first job. Right? There's no money in it." And that probably galvanized me even more. It's like, I'm definitely working in the golf industry. Just because they say don't do it. But no, first job was McDonald's. It was great, actually. It was really good experience. And then right after that, it was HGC, Hastings Golf Center.
Yes.
Working with Alex D'Angelo and those guys. And that was awesome to be there, right? Just to be, seeing the clientele there was so fun. Everybody just loved golf, right? You would see, 100 people a day, 98 of them you would see every single day.
Yeah.
There'd be 2 others that like, I don't really know who this person is, right? But it was just friends hanging out at a place. It was such a cool vibe, right? And then I ended up working at Burnaby Mountain also just as I finished high school, picking balls and stuff. And that was great. And I was still thinking of maybe becoming like a history teacher or something like that, something out of the golf industry. And then there was just something that clicked. I was like, what am I doing? I love going to work. I get to be at a golf course, right? It didn't matter back then, like if I made any money, just to be able to go to a golf course every single day, just to be around golf. Didn't have to even play it, right? I would be super happy to do. So then with that, my dad's like, okay, well, that's a good attitude. Let's do this. And then we worked on it.
You have to be a pretty good golfer to become a pro, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, I don't know what it is right now. You can go on the BC PGA or the PGA of Canada website to see what you have to shoot. But when I played, I had to shoot 2 rounds of 77 or better to do it.
In a row?
Yeah.
And you have to like tell someone you're doing it that day?
It was actually at the Ledgeview Open. Yeah. So I was actually in a golf tournament, which made it easier for me because I was trying to win, right? So I wasn't really looking at a number. But now what it is, which is, I think, is a mentally, very, very hard to do, is you have to beat this score. So you have to be better than, whether it's 78 this time. But now you're sort of like you're playing with house money at the start, right? Okay, make a few bogeys, that's all right, right? But you're not attacking it. You're playing way too passive sometimes. Right. And then you're, okay, I'm 6 over par. I better par in. Yeah. And then you start to get the jitters, right? Where I think, you're always trying to make birdies, right? Which we want to do. But when you go to a golf course, you want to set a game plan to play your very best golf. But to have a cap on how high you can shoot, that's a difficult thing to do, right? And that is hard. So yeah, any golf pro out there had to do that, who's a CPGA or PGA of Canada, as we call it now, has to do that. But the great part about our industry and our little profession is you have to go through certain schooling and modules. So you'll turn pro, you'll shoot that score, right? And then it's like, yes, I'm a golf professional, right? And they're like, well, no, you can't teach a lesson just yet. You have to pass that your stuff, okay, right? So it's like the TCCP for anybody who's gone through, basketball or be a coach for anything, or NCCP, right? So it's similar, but it's in the golfing vein and the professional. So you teach a beginner golfer, intermediate golfer, and then a competitive golfer. And so you get a whole bunch of knowledge. And that to me was more fun than any tournament that I ever played. Just learning from all these great mentors, in BC who teach those courses, and then you get tested on it, and they say this is wrong. Then you argue your point, and it's like, yeah, good argument. Okay. Right.
How old were you when you started teaching?
Off the record, I was probably, so I helped my dad out before actually turning pro. Maybe I was 18, right? So he would do a group class, and I would just kind of be in there making sure no one hit each other and just that, yeah. But then I turned pro when I was 20 years old when I turned pro. And then, but yeah, I was always helping out, my grandparents or my mom when I was like 10 years old and giving them super bad advice, which is good. And you learn from your mistakes. That's for sure.
Do you remember those like first couple of years in terms of like building confidence and like how nervous and awkward and like all those things at the beginning of your career?
It was, for anybody that had one of the first lessons from me, I'm sorry. There's a ton of the stuff that, I was super lucky to have. My dad won, Teacher of the Year in the 90s, and he had, he would teach a bunch of Canadian Tour players, and he had Ray Stewart, who was on the PGA Tour, which is super awesome. So it was always around, really good instructors and really good golfers. Mm-hmm. So I had some fantastic mentors. So a lot of the stuff that I was teaching back then, I completely agree with today, but I would just say way too much. Way too much. And I think it comes to that. I just want to show that I know what I can do. Mm-hmm. But then talking about, being a good instructor, it's all about making that person play better the next day, where they might understand their golf swing more, but I just said way too much, right? You don't need to know what step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is. We just need to start you on the right path, to start it on a better direction, flight it a little bit better, understand how to hit it 50 or 55 yards kind of thing. And that's where, the more experience that you have, the better you're going to be at anything, right?
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. There were some cringeworthy moments where after it's like an hour lesson, it's like, I'm out of breath.
Yeah.
You hit 5 golf balls. Sorry about that.
Isn't it fun to look back and see the progression though? Because it's such a slow moving, like pendulum, getting from like start of your career, which was, let's say 18 years old, to now 30, 31, your age?
31 tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
So, hey, thank you very much.
So it's 12 years. That's a long time. But like even just in my career in real estate for the last 7 years, it's so crazy to look back and just think like how naive, how little information I knew compared to like today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Right. And it's, just as a golfer, right? You learn from your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So the more mistakes you make, the more you learn.
Totally.
Right. You can't be perfect from day one. Right. But you just have to have a really good work ethic that you absolutely do. I mean, just look at your timeline. It's just nonstop and it's just great quality stuff. And I mean, how many years did it take you to become top, 1% or something realtor? And
Technically, year and a half.
Yeah. I think
I had some help along the way though. I feel pretty lucky with my situation.
I
feel like I took advantage of a very good opportunity. But a lot of people don't get that opportunity, which I feel very grateful for.
I think I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
guess a lot of people don't have a dad who has played Canadian Tour.
Yeah,
and is like one of the best teachers in Canada. Yeah.
And just every weekend or month there was another leading golf instructor in the city over for dinner.
Yeah,
that
cool.
They would just sit and chat, and I would just sit there. I wouldn't say a word, right? And that's sort of if you were out for dinner with me, that's sort of what I just love to. I just love to sit and just listen to people talk, right? I don't usually get engaged unless it's something I'm really passionate about. I just like to hear people's opinions and just listen and just be in the room, be a fly on the wall. And that's what I got to do as a kid. Yeah. For so long. It was so great. Yeah.
What do you think about golf right now with no fans?
It's interesting.
It's weird, right?
It's really interesting.
It was so quiet watching.
Someone made the comment.
There's nothing happening.
It's kind of like watching, sometimes you watch European Tour.
Yeah.
And it's like in some random place, Abu Dhabi or something, there's no one around, and they just see this golf shot. And, it kind of brings it back to, it's just that regular round of golf. You can kind of relate. Like, didn't some guy get a hole-in-one? And he didn't know until he's up there? Yeah. Right?
Yeah, so weird.
How do the players feel about it? Like, do they like the quiet? Are they able to focus more? Or do you think they feed off the crowd's energy?
Oh,
I bet there's pros and cons both ways for different personalities, to be
different
honest.
personalities for sure. Yeah. Right.
I feel like that's the only sport too, right? Because like I could never see any basketball player would want to play in an empty arena.
No.
But I'm sure there's golfers that would like playing by themselves in a quiet place, right?
Yeah. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Right. There's less people watching, right? Mm-hmm. There's a camera and there's like 8 people on the camera, whatever the audio crew or camera crew.
And they also like follow different players and stuff, so everyone's always moving. Yeah.
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 But like if you're playing in Tiger's group, regardless of what day, there's like 15,000 people following you around.
Yeah.
It's like a basketball stadium is following you around on every shot.
And the other X amount of people that are at the golf course aren't following him because they can't see him.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'll watch this guy. Yeah. Right? Or I'll go 2 holes ahead and I'll save a spot. Yeah. So if you're playing the group in front of you, then you got the hustle and bustle of the crowds just running up past you as you're trying to shoot just so they can get a good spot by the green.
So maybe you see him every like 3rd round or something. Yeah. Flying ahead.
I saw one shot of Tiger Woods.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. I think it'd be so weird. Like I think most of them, the good players anyway, are just so used to the environment now.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like I'm sure there's nerves on number 1 tee shot, but they settle into the round pretty quickly and it's just normal having 3,000 people watching every single shot.
That's right.
So to go from that to like almost a round with your buddies on a week off with no one around is probably so strange. It's probably mentally difficult to like stay super focused. It's just different. Yeah. It's a different environment.
Completely different environment. You don't get the sort of the roars or anything like that. I mean, the majors, you hear that, right? You see, the guy I had must have made a birdie, right? Uh-oh. Or, you kind of have that idea of where you stand. Yeah. Where the only way you're going to know is if you're looking at a leaderboard, which a lot of players actively try not to. Right. So you don't get that. But it might help them stay, with their game plan. Right. So
the highs
there's
and
that
lows
pros
are
and
probably
cons.
just kind of evened out, right? Because if you make a double or you miss a really short putt, you're probably like, ooh, 3,000 people are just like literally staring at me right now. I need to look off into the distance and, you know, just pretend like I'm not aware of this, but I'm very aware of this.
Yeah.
So like, if you miss a really short putt, you're probably upset, but there's no one around. You might get over it a little bit quicker.
You might get over a little bit quicker. Mm-hmm. Plus, I mean, off the tee, not going to hit anybody.
There's a lot less gloves being given away.
Yeah, exactly. You could keep all my gloves. Right. But then also there's less people to find your golf ball.
That's right.
But yeah, definitely it will be, it'd be interesting to hear. I know they did a few, you know, questions and stuff like that. And I'm sure Golf Digest is going to have a really good article written or something like that about what was different with all these different players going at it. But
I saw they interviewed a bunch of guys before the tournament started this past week, and most of them were just like, I just want to play golf again. I'm like, I'm sitting at home for 3 months. I took a month off, but then like I've been practicing for the last 2 months. I just want to play. Like I'm excited to play. I don't care if there's people out there. I just want to play again.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Right. I got a 4-month-old at home, so I wasn't playing anyways. Right. And then we shut down. So even the golf courses that were open, you know, I tried not to. Or I didn't go out to them because it just wouldn't look good, you know. It would, you know. But then we opened and I got to play a couple of rounds of golf and it's like, well, this is fun, right? Like sometimes that break just really reinvigorates, you know, remembers why you're doing this, right? It's such a fun game to go and play.
Totally.
Just to get out there. And I love that 6 a.m., you know, play, first group out or the dawn patrol. Right, and just going for this nice walk in the park, especially, you know, Burnaby has the great birds chirping, and you have, you know, sometimes you get geese out there, and then at Pitt Meadows you have the swallows, I think they're called, that'll just like go right in front of you as you're walking, trying to eat all the bugs that you're kicking up, and you just don't get that experience in another sport, right? But yeah, you sort of that absence makes the heart grow fonder, I guess is the way you'd say it. And then,
100%.
And then you're back and it's like, oh yeah, this is so fun. Right. This is why I do it.
In your teaching with students, golfers, whatever you want to call them, clients, patients, I don't know.
Yeah.
How much of the lesson with, like, let's say someone who, I don't know, is it common for someone to come like once a month or once a week or whatever? But if they're seeing you multiple times, how much of what you're teaching is like the mental side of the game versus the physical side of the game? Or is it dependent on their skill level to start or like...
Yeah.
Because golf is the weirdest sport I've ever played. I played a lot of sports growing up. Played basketball pretty competitively. I understand sports. Golf is by far the strangest. By far. Physically, I feel like I can do the motions. I can do the things. But like one bad shot or like a couple bad shots in a row and you're like, shit, I can't do the things. I have this shot I've hit 37,000 times. But after the last couple shots, I'm really doubting whether I can do this or not. Which is just 100% mental.
100% mental.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot, and that goes back to when I first started. You know, someone would say, I need to correct this technically.
Yeah.
It's like, let's do this. That's what you paid me for, right? Okay, let's correct it. It's like, well, you can hit that shot 9 out of 10 times, but you're worried about that 1 out of 10. You know, Tiger Woods also misses greens, right? He's going to have some bogeys out there. Right. So, and that's the great part about this game is you just have to, you have to look at the positives. You have to see what the percentages are. Right. And so whenever I have a new client or student, depends on
patient.
Once I get my doctorate, maybe I'll call it that. But, you know, there's two things that I'll try and look at before diving into anything is the equipment. So maybe they just got a new set of clubs. And their game went downhill. Well, they weren't fit for you. They're way lighter than what you used to have. You're used to this super heavy set of clubs, and now it's half the weight. So, of course, you're going to spray it everywhere, right? Yeah. So we're going to look at that, or maybe it's too rep right or too flat or something like that. Not enough loft. And then I try and do a TPI screen. So it's Titleist Performance Institute. It has a great resource, and I was taking a few courses over the COVID to even get some more information on it. But it's a 16 move assessment, and I'm checking out where your range of motion is in your ankles, knees, hips, everything, thoracic spine. So every single moving part in the golf swing. And then it pops out on their app, oh, you're more likely to cast it or early extend, than somebody else because of a lack of range of motion in your left hip, right? So it's awesome,
crazy
resource.
Scientific how crazy this golf stuff is.
It's cool, right? Right. So, and then that gives me, there's two ways about it. Okay, we know that we have a left hip that in a right-handed golfer that is a little bit stuck, or it's doesn't have quite the range of motion that we need to create the Adam Scott golf swing, right? That is like, well, that's the greatest golf swing ever. I want to swing like that. It's like, well, we can't. So we can either, let's get you on a program, let's get you to a physio, we're going to do some mobility movements, and I'll send you to someone that I recommend for that. Or what we can do is we can swing around it, right? And I'll always leave the lesson with something for that person to work on, but there's that choice, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, we cannot do this move. Do I want to flare my left foot out just to give my hip a bit more mobility? Okay, that's going to help me hit some better shots. And all I'm looking for is, it doesn't matter what club you're hitting it, but can you hit it this distance? Can you hit it on that driving range mat X amount of times? And what is your dispersion, right? So we might be able to hit 1 out of 10 fantastic, but then the other 9 are all sprayed. Okay, that's not a repeatable action. How can we make this repeatable for you, right? And then once we kind of get it dialed in on what we want to do, I go through 7 things before technique, right? So, and that brings you to your question. So the first thing is trust. Can you trust the swing that you have come up with in your think box, right? Do you trust your club choice? Do you trust your swing? Do you think that you can do this? And if you can't, then maybe we're going to come up with a way to build that trust, right? Maybe it's through drills. So then I can just say, hey, you are at this percentage. You can hit this green 70% of the time, so you don't need to worry about it, right? Or we somehow come up with a way, right? And then once we start to, trust it, but it still isn't quite working the way we want it to, then we go alignment, body position, right? Maybe we're inconsistent with the body position. Then we go into grip, right? Okay, is this grip, does this match your sort of swing style, or should we weaken it or strengthen it? Or is it inconsistent that way? And then there's 3 things in the swing, which is balance, tension, and tempo, right? If you're off balance, good luck, right? If you're tight, you're on the driving range, you're hitting these beautiful 280 drives, hitting, the exact pull at the end of the range on the driving range, and you go to the golf course, you can't hit in a fairway. I'm betting there's no tension on the driving range, but there's a ton of tension on the golf course. Mm-hmm. So how can we either simulate, that tension, right, or that pressure that you feel on the golf course, or how can we bring that low tension from the driving range out to the golf course? And then we kind of talk about that. And then the tempo, really it goes off of that balance and tension sort of thing. So I go through those 7 things because I think the first one, number 1 influences 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Totally.
Number 2 influences 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And I go through it in like a fine-tooth comb. And we're just going to make sure that if we do make, any technical change, which is, 90% of the time when someone comes for a lesson, they're looking for a technical change, we're doing it for the good. Because it's so hard to break a motor pattern.
It's so hard.
And it's so hard to break a habit, right? And, there's a great book, the Talent Code, that says, you don't really break a habit, you just build a habit around it, right? So you're building these neural pathways around it. So how much do we have to practice, and how structured do we have to practice? And, how can we make it so that we don't deviate from our path, so that we can build that new motor pattern, so that we don't do that other one, right? So if we're going to go down that path, that's a hard one, right? And it might be, for some people, it's definitely worthwhile to do, but let's make sure we're doing it for the right reasons, right? And then once we go there, don't get me wrong, that's the funnest lesson for a golf coach. And I think that's where, any golf coach that might be listening is, and they'll know exactly what I'm talking about, is we're trying not to go technical, but when we do, it's like a kid in a candy store. It's like, all right, here we go. This is what every single book, talks about. It's the technical side. Before you're a pro, you're going to read the Ben Hogan fundamentals. You're going to read, all these different things. But really, 90% of people come for a lesson to do technical, but really only 10% need it, right? So it's kind of that switch. Yeah, for sure.
As a non-golfer, Carl,
yes,
how complicated do you think this sounds?
This is insane.
It's so, like, every single little detail of the swing, there's like 1,000 things to talk about.
What do you mean, like turtleback greens and stuff? And like, it's wild.
The game makes no sense whatsoever.
But even like there's different types of grasses, different length. It's absolutely infinite, like number of things you got to watch out for and like adapt to, right?
And that's why it can chew some people up, because they're thinking of all of those things.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that you can be negative about that can, build mistrust in it. But I'm not sure who it might have been Phil that said it, but he's like, the people that are on the PGA Tour, he said, but even LPGA Champions Tour, they're either the smartest people or the dumbest.
So
right,
that was Phil.
Okay. It was Phil.
Phil said, I think, he was talking about Dustin Johnson.
He was,
because Dustin Johnson is not the smartest individual in the world, but he's one of the best golfers in the world. Ridiculous athlete.
Such a good athlete.
And he was talking about DJ. I think DJ might have had a good round or something. And someone asked him a question about DJ, and he's like, well, it's funny. To be really good at this game, you either got to be extremely intelligent or really dumb. And he's like, then he started talking about himself, and he was saying, like, for me, I'm overanalyzing everything.
Right.
The wind, the lie, the slope of the green, the whatever. Hilarious. It's so funny. But yeah, I remember that quote so clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good. Right. But it's a simple game if you think about it.
No, it's not at all. I hear people say that all the time, and every time I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
It's a simple game in the fact that you're trying to get a golf ball from one point into that hole down there. X amount of yards.
Small hole.
Now let's do that 18 times, right? So
this sounds a little bit like Robin Williams stand-up.
Yeah.
We're not going to just do one hole. We're going to do it 18 times.
That was a great finish to his set. It's so good. But we don't have to hit that fairway, right? It makes it easier. But if I miss it and I'm in the trees, I potentially could still get on the green, right? I missed that green. I could still chip and putt, right? But there's so many golfers that start with the great mindset of they don't have any technique. They don't have anything. All they're trying to do is just get that little white golf ball in that hole. And I try and preserve that, right? We need to have that in our mind, right? If I'm trying to, make sure that I'm getting it into the slot, right? And a non-golfer, that might sound, but it's the crazy amount of times that someone says, oh, but is this going to help me get into the slot? That, if you have a good swing, you're going to do that, okay, right?
A repeatable swing, right?
The golf ball has no idea if you've got it into the slot position, right? All that golf ball knows is where that club face is pointing and what direction it's traveling in, right? So if we can just make sure your club face is pointing in the right direction or relatively, it's traveling towards the target relatively, it's going to go relatively where you want it to go. And then we get it on that putting green and make, some putts, and you're going to play great, right? My dad, this guy comes to the driving range a whole bunch. I won't drop his name, but he's told me this story probably 8 times in the past couple of years. Every time he sees me, he's like, oh, how's your dad doing? And then he says, I had a lesson with him once. It was the greatest lesson I ever had. He's like, I just want to shoot in the 80s. So my dad says, okay, well, hit a couple golf shots, right? So he starts with his wedges and his 7-iron and his, 4-iron. He's hitting it good, and then he gives him his 3-wood. It's going everywhere. Gives him his driver. It's going everywhere, right? He's like, well, you're hitting it fantastic. How many putts do you have around? 30, 31. Yeah. Well, here you go. Took his 3-wood, 5-wood driver out of his bag and said, go play, right? You're going to shoot no problem in the 80s, right? It doesn't, you don't have to be huge, right? If you're at Mike Bell's level and you're trying to make some money, you want to hit it far, right? And definitely it is easier to hit a 5-iron into the green than it is a 3-wood, right? So when you hit it further. But when it's just about just thinking of it super simply, get that golf ball going in the right direction, hit it again, try and get in the hole in this amount of shots. Try not to 3-putt, right? 3 putts, that adds up. Try not to 2-chip. If you 2-chip, you chipped one too many times. If you hit it in the water or you hit it out of bounds, well, you probably picked the wrong target, and that's going to add up too. So if we can eliminate 3 putts, 2 chips, and penalty shots, we're probably going to play some of our best golf, right? And if we can try and have that mentality. But, when you watch Golf Channel and they have 8 hours of instruction on, and then I see somebody come, and there's a ton of great stuff for golf instructors out there, so I'll watch it, and I'll use some of it for sure. Like, I'm not saying it's bad advice that they're giving, but when someone who is slicing the golf ball is using a drill that's supposed to stop a hook, and non-golfer might not know what that is, like, you're doing the wrong drill,
totally.
Right? And so it's just about getting it to go in the right direction, right, with minimal spin, and we can probably play some pretty good golf out there. Yeah. It's not that hard.
I've had moments of brilliance, Carl.
And it probably felt so easy, right?
Yeah, it's very stress-free.
Yeah.
But then you probably had the opposite too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started playing this year, usually from November, Palm Springs trip, to May. I don't swing a club at all. This year, coronavirus, started playing pretty early April, I think. Played 30 rounds of golf between April 1st and May, 3rd week of May. Man. I was playing like 4 days.
It's like every second day.
I was playing like 4 days a week.
Woo!
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm in the wrong business.
Which is fantastic.
How much did you improve over this time?
A lot. So my first few rounds were, which is normal for the beginning of the year when I haven't played in 6 months, were like mid-90s. And it's so frustrating. You're chunking it. You're hitting it all over the place. You have no idea which way the ball is going to go. You're taking a swing, and it's going in the direction of the hole. You're just not sure if it's going right or left, and it's all over the place. Got down to, I think my handicap now, I was plugging in every single score, so I have a pretty accurate handicap. My handicap now is 7.
All right.
Just getting pretty good.
You should be impressed, yeah.
But then I haven't played in like 3 weeks because work got busy. And so I'm going to go back in July or August or whatever. It's going to be back to like high 80s, which sucks. Low round of the year, 75. Okay. But in the last 10, I've had like 5 rounds in the 70s maybe.
So what percentage of people that play on a golf course finish par or better?
Oh.
Less than 1%.
Yeah, 0.5.
Less than 1%.
I'll give you a stat. Now, this is a 20-year-old stat, so I'm not sure if this is accurate. But my dad says it so many times.
Someone told me a stat too. Yours are much more accurate than mine, probably. So I'm going to tell you mine first. Okay. I heard a stat that 10% of golfers in the world can break 90.
Okay.
1% of golfers in the world can break 80. Shooting par is probably like 0.05%.
So it's even less?
So my dad has been saying this for, I remember 20 years. He might have been saying it for 40. But he knows a stat that says that, so when Stats Canada says that you're a golfer, it means you played once a year. Okay?
Okay.
10% of golfers ever break 100.
Ever.
Yeah. Now, we can look this up. Someone can fact check this. But
it's an impossible, so let me explain. It's an impossible stat to keep because most people that are playing once a year or shooting 100 or even in the 90s aren't keeping an accurate score.
No.
Right? They're taking mulligans. They're moving it out of the bunkers. They're
silly rules.
Whatever. They're not taking penalties for hitting the water. Mm-hmm. They're taking putts from 6 feet because they're, it's their 9th shot on a par 4. So they're just picking up the ball. So it's not accurate.
It's not accurate.
So it's impossible to keep. It's a
so
guess.
if you're going to get any data that you're going to get, that's actual logging of, whether it's Golf Canada's, handicap system, those are the top golfers. they're the ones that want to know
exactly
how they're doing it, right? They probably played for 5-10 years before they even thought about what a handicap is.
Totally.
Right? So they've already grinded it out. Yeah, for sure.
And par 72.
Depends on the course.
Depends on the course.
Oh, it varies, eh?
Yeah.
Have you ever shot par on a course? You got
I
close?
shot 71 one time.
Really?
I shot 1 under in
Fuck
Palm
yeah.
Springs. It's probably like 4 years ago.
Just feeling it or what?
Congratulations.
Yeah. I shot 35, 36.
Wow.
My grandpa.
I had 3 birdies on the front, 2 bogeys. And then on the back, I had 1 birdie, 1 bogey.
That's good.
I took a photo of the scorecard. I got it on my phone somewhere.
That's good.
I've
No doubles.
I don't think I've ever shot even par. I've shot a lot of 73s, like 10,
one
11,
over
12. Yeah. I was playing a lot more like 4 or 5 years ago, and I got fairly good. It's hard to get back. Like if you don't play for 6 months a year,
Yeah.
literally it'll
You just
go
lose it
from
all. Yeah.
in the fall. I play a lot leading up to that Palm Springs trip to like post some decent scores. So I'll be shooting in like the high 70s, low 80s almost every round.
Yeah.
But then not playing for 6 months, you go back and it's like 94, and you're like, why am I playing this stupid game?
Whose body is
This is
this?
so dumb. I want to break every club.
Right. So my grandpa played golf for a long time. At least that's how my dad got into it.
Yeah.
He was just a weekend warrior. And he had the goal of shooting under par. The day he shot under par, he quit golf.
Quit.
Quit golf. He bought a
Just
hobby
so
farm.
over
He
it.
became, he got some sheep and some, grew some cord and stuff. He's like, no, that's it. That was my goal.
Next
I'm at
goal.
the
So
goal.
I'm going.
On to the next.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So his last round of golf was under par. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, this game is very tough. I find that if I take a layoff for a little bit, my first round back is great.
But
I have
a layoff,
no
you're probably
expectation.
talking about like 2 or 3 weeks.
No,
I'm not talking about 6 months.
I'm in the golf industry. I don't play golf. I'm at the golf course.
Yeah.
If anytime I hit a golf ball, it's for a student. So I'm very lucky because every shot that I hit, there's a ton of pressure on me, right? It's like, oh, I'm in a golf ball in a couple of days. This better work. But, the first round back, I've got no expectations, right? And I'm kind of thinking I'm going to play before I stop playing for a little bit. And it's usually like great round of golf, right? The second one, I have high expectations.
This is a bad one.
And then I, maybe make a double there and I try and force it. Even though I preach this all the time, don't worry about it. Just keep going. You know what you got to do. But then I'll try and force it. And the second round back is the worst. And then you start to sort of see it come back.
Yeah.
Right. So, if we are having a difficult time just making contact after a layoff and we don't have that, that sort of athletic, feel of just trying to make contact with it, probably trying to do too much, right? Just go out there and just play. Just like just took the game up, try and get that club on that golf ball after a little bit of a layoff. Do whatever feels natural, right? And then you're going to start to be, oh, right. I did feel better when I took a shorter backswing, or it did feel better when I had, 40% tempo rather than 100% tempo kind of thing. It sort of starts to come back to you, right? But the first thing that goes is definitely short game, right? Chipping, putting. Oh,
For me, I feel like putting, I'm usually pretty consistent, even if I haven't played for a while.
yeah.
Like you can just figure it out. Maybe it's not perfectly in line, but you can usually figure out the speed.
Then that's the athlete.
Chipping,
in you, right?
maybe.
That's the athlete. For those that get too mechanical,
Yeah.
right?
Chipping is so sensitive. I don't know if that's the right word. But like you need to hit it the right trajectory and the right distance to make it stop in the amount of time that you want it to stop. And the lies in putting, you have the same lie every time you're on the green. It's like it's easy. It's easier. Whereas chipping, every single lie is different. You're in really tall grass that's leaning this way or leaning that way. Like your club reacts differently. So figuring that out, even just starting playing again in April, probably took me 15 to 20 rounds to figure it out. The problem with COVID was the ranges weren't open. So I couldn't practice. And they shut down the chipping green and the putting green at Pitt Meadows. So I I had a lot more spare time because work was quite a bit slower during April and May. And I would love to practice, but I wasn't allowed to. And I got yelled at once at Pit Meadows because I went to the driving range and just hit balls because I was really frustrated after a round.
Did you get your own Titleist? Or?
No, I just walked into the back of the pro shop and took a box of yellow balls and went to the...
I wonder why they got mad at you. Yeah.
It's like, there's no one here. I'm socially distancing. Okay, we got to wrap up.
Okay.
Because you are a dad and you need to get home and hang out with
Yeah, I
Lucas.
got to put him to sleep. Yep.
Yeah. I have two very serious questions. One, okay, I'm going to go more serious first and then less serious later.
All right.
5 years ago, Matt Wolff walks into a lesson with you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say?
You know, that is a fantastic question. You know, today,
Yeah.
because there are the Matt Wolffs in the world,
Yeah.
I'd be like, this guy's great, right?
You're
Back-
just more focused on contact and like consistency and that kind of stuff.
Can you get this little golf ball into that hole in least amount of strokes as possible? And this guy can do it, right?
Do you have your phone by you? Google Matt Wolff golf swing, and then you'll understand why I'm asking that question.
Because you said 5 years ago,
Yeah.
the industry and Golf Channel and, you know, just the way that the golf, you know, televised sport was going, it was the nicest swings, right? Everyone copied Tiger Woods, right? And I would have been, you know, a lot greener.
Carl's face.
That's weird. It's different.
Well, he has the
different.
weird
He has a
hitch.
at the top, kind of, right?
He has a little bit of a
Look
hitch.
at his little
He's
hitch
got a little
before he
bit of
even
a forward
moves the swing.
press. Yeah.
Right? He does this like weird shoulder shift thing.
Yeah. And it works. It's great, right?
And then it's like what's his name?
Jim Furyk.
Jim Furyk swing after that.
Jim Furyk, but he pipes it.
Yeah, he hits it really long.
So far.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's, you know, Tiger Woods brought so much to this game, right? I don't know if there'd be that many people in the golf industry with a job if it wasn't for him.
Totally.
Right? He made so many people so much money, right? But he had this beautiful swing, right? That's kind of his, right? And people try and emulate it and go back to that TPI sort of thing is, well, nobody that I've ever assessed has the ability to do the Tiger Woods swing, right? The guy's also had surgeries because of it, right?
Many,
so it's not like it's a swing that you want to teach. There's a ton in there, 99% of it. It's like, yeah, we want to be in that position, but we want to be able to get there naturally. We don't want to force it, right? And that's where when you do have the long layoff, you start seeing those terrible shots, right? You're trying to force it. You know, we're starting to see with the Matt Wolffs and, you know, all these different swings that are coming out is, you know, as long as we can get the club head speed up, we can get that golf club pointing in the right direction, we can have that club swinging roughly on the correct path, we can play this game pretty well, right? And if we're trying to manipulate our body in a way that adds tension, puts us off balance, or it's a position that, you know, maybe we have to compensate somehow for, it might look fantastic on camera, but it's not going to deliver that club to that ball in an efficient way, right? You're putting a lot into it, but you're not seeing very much results in terms of distance, but also it's inconsistent because sometimes, you know, I'm feeling pretty good today. It's 30 degrees. I have some mobility in my hip. And then you go in and you play and it's 2 degrees and I can't hit this golf ball because you don't have the mobility, right? We want to be able to have that golf swing that you can repeat time and time again, which he has for sure.
It's interesting you say the thing about Tiger and making people money. I remember Phil in an interview like a long time ago. It was probably as a kid when I was like 15, 16, whatever. Someone asked him in an interview, are you like resentful of Tiger Woods?
Yeah.
Because he's like won all these majors and you've always been in second place or whatever, second best golfer in the world for so long. He's like, are you kidding me? That dude's made me so much money.
Yeah. If he was number one by like a long shot,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have made as much money as being number two.
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
So much money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's like the number 2 player, but he's probably like the second most well-known golfer now, too, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And loved, man. People, fans just love him.
The past couple of years, he's really stepped up his game too on social media. Like, Phil Mickelson much more now than you did back then. Yeah.
Tiger just made one of the reasons I talk about Tiger is like in the conversation of best athlete of all time is just because he completely changed his sport from being like an old white person dude thing that was like a rich people sport to this game is really cool.
Yeah.
And he brought so many different people into the sport.
So many different people.
Him,
Younger
Michael
kids.
Jordan. Like, who else did that for their sports?
It's hilarious to watch the vintage sports. Yeah. So you see the 1960s, you got Arnold Palmer. This guy, Arnold Palmer, was kind of like the Tiger Woods. Like, everybody knew who this guy was. And they would be super exuberant.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that loud. And then you see Tiger. Yeah. And you're seeing people in the stands that probably have never played golf before. They just want to see Tiger, and they are going nuts, right? It's like a wrestling, tournament, and they are just hooting and hollering, and it really changed.
Even in the 90s, like watching the people in his first 5 years, watching the people that he played against, were just fat white guys, right? Like Hal Sutton and like Colin Montgomery.
Right?
Yeah. They were great golfers. But like chubby, rich white guys.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. And now, watching all these guys play, which is like DJ and Brooks and like all Rory, even DeChambeau is like jacked now. They're all just like physical, super good athletes. Which is cool. Which means like a lot of the good athletes as kids are now falling in love with golf.
Yeah.
Rather than the good athletes playing football, basketball, baseball in the States, and the guys that can't play those sports going into golf.
It's a fantastic game for that multi-athlete, person, right, or kid, because low risk of injury. You're not really exerting yourself, so you can play around in golf and then go play a game in that night or the next day. You're not going to be sore after a workout or something like that, right? And it's just a great way to de-stress too. We go up with some teammates or some friends and stuff. So you see a lot of athletes doing that, and then they realize, oh, this is fun.
Something addicting about it.
Yeah, I'm getting better, right? Well, maybe I'll play some tournaments.
What I like about it and what I wish I started playing earlier, is that you're in control.
It's you.
Right? Like, I only played team sports growing up. Basketball, football, baseball. In football, there's 10 other guys on the field. So, like, one person can't dominate. If you work 14 hours a day and get really good at that sport, you still have 10 other dudes on your team that you're relying on to at least do their job.
I need to get you the ball.
Right? Yeah. If you're a quarterback, like you need an offensive line to give you a few seconds to throw the ball kind of thing, right?
Yeah. We know all about that.
Right? Yeah. Right? That was a Seahawks joke. Because the Seahawks have one of the worst offensive lines in the league and the best quarterback in the league. That's right. I said it. That's right. Patrick Mahomes, we're coming for you. But that's what I like about golf. As like someone who was obsessed with sports as a kid, I wish I would have found golf a little bit earlier. Because I think if I obsessed about it, I could have been fairly good. But what I really liked about it was like, you can't blame anyone else.
Nope.
Right? Like, if my buddy in basketball, the guy that he's guarding, scores 35 that game, I'd be like, well, Joe, you didn't show up. Right? In golf, it's like, I didn't play good. Yeah. I didn't putt good. I could have done this, right? It's kind of cool that you're not playing against other people too.
Yeah.
It's just so different than team sports. It's so different. It's a big grass field and you have this little ball and you're just trying to hit it around.
It's great.
Yeah.
And that's where, you are just you, right? And your game plan, I mean, for the recreational golfer, the game plan does not change whether your buddy is playing the best or worst golf ever.
Totally.
Right? You should be playing what your game plan is, right? And even on the PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, they're not really deviating too much. Maybe that's, there's this one hole out there that, if I have a shot at, maybe I can hit driver. But they've game planned for it. It's not like you know what, I was going to hit a 2 hybrid, but because I'm going to try and win this tournament, I'm going to grab this driver. I don't know where it's going to go, but they have an idea that it's at least they've conceived of this.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a fantastic sport because of that. You also see them try and blame it on, a spike mark. Oh, I missed that putt. And you always see them try and tap down a piece of grass. It didn't hit that. The camera was this close to the ball. It was nowhere near that mark. Right? Sometimes it was, but you always, the athlete and the competitive nature of the athlete out there was trying to deflect too. But it was you, right?
Usually the good golfer, like the good ones in the sport, the long-term good ones aren't doing that stuff.
Yeah.
That's like the guy that's good every once in a while, wins one tournament every 3 years, kind of like that's that kind of guy. I think but like Rory McIlroy is never blaming a spike mark on a putt,
I think it was Jack Nicklaus who was quoted saying, anybody that's complaining about the weather or the conditions, I don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
Right? It's like, well, you're all on that golf course at the same time, right? And the British Open is one where, yes, you play in the morning versus the afternoon, different conditions.
Yeah.
But you do switch it. So sometimes you can have some different advantages, but you just take what's given to you, right? Make of what you got.
One of the coolest golf interviews I've ever seen was Brooks Koepka. This is a year and a half ago when he was like in the peak of his major dominance, basically. He won 4 in 8, I think. I think in 2 years he won 4.
Yeah.
And in the other 4, he was like top 5. Like he was right in everyone for 8 majors in a row, I think. Someone asked him like, why are you so good in majors? And his response, do you remember this?
I think I do, yeah.
Yeah. His response was something like, well, I look at it this way. There's 144 guys in a major. Right away, half of them have no chance at winning. Literally 0 chance. So I'm playing against, let's say, 70 guys. Out of those 70, 80% of them don't believe they can win. So I go into a major knowing I'm one of the best golfers in the world. I believe I can win. Really, I'm trying to beat 10 guys. So he's like, I'm showing up. There's 144 guys there. I'm really just playing against 10 other guys.
Yeah.
Sounds so arrogant would be a good word, I guess. But at the same time, like such a good mental thought.
You have to be like that, yeah.
Right?
He was just ballsy enough to say it.
Yeah. Exactly.
But if you're top of your game, that's what you're thinking.
Because like there's Rory, there DJ a couple of years ago, and maybe not today. He'll get back there.
Any day though, he could just
right. But that's his thing. He's a bit streaky.
Yeah. There's
every major. It seems like there's 10 guys you could pick that have a legitimate chance at winning. Justin Rose is in those conversations now. Justin Thomas is in those conversations. I think Fromm is really close. He hasn't won one yet.
Watch
but he's
out.
So close.
He's coming.
He was my number 1 pick. I had pick 3 in the pool, and I got him. And I was pumped because I thought he was going to have a big year, but who knows after coronavirus what's happening.
Some underlying stats that's showing he's coming.
I know.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. But really, outside of those 10 guys, there's always like 1 or 2 that have a good week. But on Sunday, they don't think they have a chance at winning, right? There's always those guys. Like Harry Higgs. I picked him up late in the pool.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
No. So,
he's an American dude.
Yeah.
First year on the PGA Tour. And we had this rule in our pool. I'm just geeking out about golf pools now. That's fine. It's my show. I can do whatever I want. We had this rule in our pool that I think you could drop and pick up 3 times throughout the season. Mm-hmm. So my first, I was watching Harry because first of all, I saw him at Torrey, which was one of the early tournaments of the year. We started the pool in January. And Torrey is the 3rd week of January, I think it is, anyway, every year. I saw him, and he literally looks like a stoner. He's walking down the fairway, like shirt is half untucked. He's got a bit of a beer gut. He's like 24, and he's like chubby. I'm like, he's in 7th place. Who's this guy? Never heard of him. Oh, he's a PGA. Sorry, like Google. He's rookie on the PGA Tour. So I'm watching him for the next like few tournaments, and every tournament he's in the top 20. like 6 tournaments in a row. And I text Mike Bell. I'm like, have you heard of this Harry Higgs guy? Like, why is he in the top? Why is he playing so consistent? He's like, yeah, I've been watching him for a couple of years. I saw him on the Corn Ferry, the tour right below the PGA. He's like, he's a really good player. I'm like, that's it. I'm taking a flyer. So I drop like my bottom guy, pick him up. This was like 2 weeks before Corona. And so I played him. Our pool is, we have 10 guys on our team. Every week we got to pick 5 to play that week. So there's some weeks where you don't pick someone on your team and they finish in the top 10 and you're like, shit, would have been really nice to get those FedEx Cup points. But I played Harry the next 2 weeks and top 20 again and again. So he keeps just feeding me points. But I feel like someone like that, who I'm pretty sure is a stoner, so what I really liked about him at Torrey, or I thought was funny anyway, it was so foggy at Torrey Pines this year. I don't know if you watched that tournament. Saturday and Sunday, it was so foggy. And both days, he's wearing shades. I'm like, this guy has to be high. Why is he wearing sunglasses? You can barely see your golf ball. That's how foggy it is. It's so foggy. He's wearing sunglasses. Like, he has to be bloodshot. I don't know.
That was David Duvall, if you remember him. Always had those Oakleys on.
Always, right? Yeah.
No matter what. Yeah.
It's so funny. Anyway, Harry Higgs, watch over him. He's coming. He's coming.
Here we go.
Last question.
Okay.
Then we'll get out of here. Have you ever... I'm assuming you've played the Tiger Woods video games.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever thought how cool it would be to have the backspin function in real life? Because every time I play Tiger Woods on
Backspin,
Xbox,
side spin, yeah.
right? The side spin too.
Just tap into or whatever it is now.
And you know exactly what shot you're going to hit because like on the tee, you can move your arrow right and left to hit draws and fades.
You need like telekinesis or something.
Man, how fun would golf be? But
Just
like
a remote in your pocket.
in the fairway, Carl, have you played Tiger Woods with me?
Yes.
So in the fairway, you can hit like a 7-iron. Let's say you're 170 yards in, hit a 7-iron, and in the air, you can see it going like a little bit long. You just go backspin, 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 and it'll hit the back of the green and spin back like 18 yards, and then you're like 8 feet for birdie. Perfect.
There's no physics in that game.
Oh, it's so good.
Well, if you ever watch PGA Tour golf, you'd realize that those pros can. It's like the Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
Spin, sit,
Yeah.
sit,
Yeah.
go. Like, it's gone, okay?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that would be awesome.
That'd be so fun.
But just to sort of jump off of that,
What do you mean? This isn't a realistic question? Are you
this
kidding me?
is super realistic, right? This is great. If I'm doing a playing lesson, right, there's 9, depending on what it is, and Lucas can attest to this. And I will get you, when you're in just before you're going from your think box to your play box, to picture the golf ball flying like you're playing Tiger Woods, with first one a yellow line, then a blue line, then a green line, and then a red line, and seeing which one in your, we're just trying to get that creativity out of you, right?
Totally.
And picture it so you can trust it. Rarely are you going to picture a golf ball going super, super high or super, super low. And you're just going to see what naturally comes out, right? And it's just a way of building trust and a way of visualizing it, getting yourself into that shot.
Yeah.
And that is a perfect example. So if anybody who's not played Tiger Woods,
Right.
and you want to play better, just play that game and picture yourself as Tiger Woods on the golf course
It's so fun.
and seeing that shot pattern. Shot Tracer is an app that you can get that'll like read your golf ball and show it like that. So I'll use that and like just see that. Every time you hit a shot, just see that. Then you trust it. Walk up to it, 8 seconds, hit the ball.
I've thought about it many times. I think I've dreamt about it. I would love to be able to do that. There's so many times on the golf course where you hit the ball. So Carl, one thing that is really unpredictable is called a flyer. Mm-hmm. You know what that means?
No.
You're in the rough. So when you're in the fairway, the club hits the ball first, right? Because there's no grass behind it. And the spin is predictable off the iron.
I see. Okay.
When there's grass in front of the
gets in
ball,
the way.
the spin is very unpredictable. Mm-hmm. You can hit it slightly heavy where there's too much grass and then the ball doesn't go that far.
It depends
or
on
you
the
can pick it pretty
grass blades
clean.
too.
Totally. You can pick it pretty clean with just a few grass blades behind the ball, but it completely takes the spin off and then the ball will fly like 15, 20 yards farther. So in the rough, 150 yards in, I pull a 9-iron. I'm like, this is going to be a great club. And then you hit the ball and you immediately know it's a flyer. Like as soon as you hit it,
Good contact.
you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Felt
shit."
way too good.
Yeah, I wish I could backspin the hell out of that thing. Just bring it back 'cause it's flying really far. But you can't because there's no spin on that ball.
That's why middle of green is always a good choice there.
I guessed wrong.
He guessed wrong.
Yeah.
He guessed wrong. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's fun.
There's lots of that.
That's fun. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
I love podcasts. I'm glad I could be your first one.
Yeah. This was great. Maybe I'll
Start a
start
golf
one.
podcast.
You
Let me know.
got to talk about your hourly rate and yeah, Denny be the first guest.
I will.
Get they go. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk to me about my golf game. It's very angry. It's very unpredictable. But I have a lot of fun.
It's perfect. People can relate to that. We can have some great conversations that everybody would know. Yeah.
My first couple of years, I don't know if you know this, Alex. I met you almost
You
right
have
when I
my
started.
irons.
That is a fun fact that we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
I do have your irons. I love them. I don't know if I'll ever give them up.
No, don't.
I think I bought those from you like 7 years ago.
That was before I was pro.
No way. Really?
Maybe not.
8 years ago?
No.
No. You were at HGC at the time.
Yep. Didn't that shut down in 2000?
8, 9 years ago?
Oh, wow. Wasn't it 2011 that it shut down?
9 years ago. Was it that long? Deange knows. Deange remembers.
D'Angelo, phone in.
Deange, if that place was still alive, Deange would still be working there because he loved it that much. Loved it.
Yeah.
But I do have his irons. They're fun. Dude, I don't know. I feel like I owe you some money because those things were an absolute steal. They're so good. They're perfect for a golfer like me who is like somewhat good.
You're really good.
So I can hit the ball, when I play a lot, I can hit the ball in the direction that I want it to go. But at the same time, like the 4, 5, 6 irons are like cavity back. So I get a little more forgiveness.
For those golfers
They're really good. I love them.
who have been playing for a while, they had the Nike Pro Combo, which was basically it's a blade in the lower half and then gradually becomes a cavity back in the top end. And Denny has the Titleist version of that.
They're so
They
sexy,
are,
Kyle.
they are very good. Yeah, I'm very happy with the irons that I have right now. So I think it was good. Worked out well for the both of us.
Man,
Yeah.
it was the best. I think it was $350 you charged me. Maybe I shouldn't say that. It's the best
This is
$350
way back
I
in
ever spent.
those days, money.
Oh yeah,
though.
that was
So
like
that's
25 years
today's-
ago. Add inflation, that's like $3,000.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, buddy.
Thank you
Get out
so
of here.
much.
You gotta go say hi to Lucas.
Yes.
Tell him I say hi.
Say hi to Lucas.
Say hi as well.